I'm Grace McClellan, and this is my Seahawk Spotlight. When I was young, my dad would coach my brother playing soccer, and he would carry me around on his hip. And so that really intrigued my interest for soccer. And so from then on, I was begging him to play.
I was coaching local youth soccer, and I was coaching our son, who's about 2 years older than Grace. And if you were coaching U6, you could be out on the field with the kids. So I would be out on the field, helping them. And Grace would want me to carry her. So it really, at about 4, she was out there in the game with me, and it was real, it was really interesting so I guess in a sense that's how it started.
When I was probably 4 years old, then my parents let me play soccer, and I was running around on the field, playing in the field. I loved to score goals, that was my thing when I was young. So I just fell in love with the sport and always wanted to get better at it.
When soccer became more serious is when she got to that level in gymnastics where she wasn't winning everything. She was a competitor, and that she would come home with a ribbon third place and say, third place, no, and no. And then she realized that when she was on the soccer field and competing, that she was really doing well. And she's a competitor, and she's always been since that age.
My dad was coaching me for a long time when I was young. And I remember him saying one time, oh, I need a goalkeeper. We just got scored on a lot of times.
We got beat 8-0, or we got beat really bad. We got 8 goals scored against us one time. And I'll never forget, I was standing there thinking, man, I need a goalkeeper. I can't have this.
And I was like, oh, I'll be the goalkeeper. And my dad was like, no, not you, someone else. And I was like, come on, it looks fun, I'll try.
No, I don't want you to play goalkeeper for me. Well, it turned out she did. Next game, she was in the goal. And the one thing about Grace is if I were to yell from the sidelines, dive on it at 6, 7, 8 years old, Grace would just dive on it and smother the ball.
And I went in there and I was just fearless. I was diving for anything, diving at people's feet, just being crazy. I
had a really good friend, his name was Bill Martin, and he pretty much ran the local soccer program. And one day he came to me and he was talking about Grace, and I said, yeah, Bill, but I don't want Grace to play goalkeeper. I just don't, there's too much stress in a goalkeeper's position. And he said, Mike, Grace has the thing you can't teach. He said, you can teach people a lot of things, but she has just enough crazy to be a really great goalkeeper someday.
From then on, it just kind of stuck. As I got older, started playing travel ball, my mom was always driving me to all my practices, all my games. At times I was playing for a team in Atlanta. She would drive 2 hours each way for practices and games, and all of the trips on the weekends, the endless sacrifices.
My happy place is being a mother. And I am a chiropractor from trade, studied to be a chiropractor. But when I saw that Grace's desire and her dreams were to play at the highest level, that I understood and Mike understood that I would have to change my commitment in the office, in between the walls of the office.
They always made the sacrifices because they just always wanted me to have the opportunity to achieve my goals and my dreams. They never ever really wanted it more for me or anything. They just understood, what my goals were, and weren't going to let anything get in the way of that.
Coming out of high school, that whole recruiting process is pretty intense and yet at the same time very exciting, But Grace got recruited to go to LSU and had a goalkeeper coach there that she had known when she was very young and had gone to many camps with her. So when they found out she was available, they called her down. We went down and had our visit. And so they asked her if she could come in early. So she finished high school in December of her senior year, and then went on and went there in January.
I was really excited to go to LSU, always wanted to play in the SEC, and went to the reigning SEC champs, so I was really excited for my future, the career that I could have there, but a lot of crazy things happened when I got there, and in the 2 years that I was there were 3 different coaching changes.
She's on the team in January, and the recruiting coach, the head coach, and the goalkeeper coach only stayed about 60 more days, and then they left. And when they left, if everybody knows, when your recruiting coach leaves, you're kind of in limbo, in a limbo situation. So after staying there for a season or two and going through 3 sets of coaches, she decided to go into the portal.
I really wanted to be a part of the winning program, and so then I decided to begin looking around and enter the transfer portal because just the competitor that I am, wanted to be a part of a winning program and lead a team to a championship, like at whatever level that would be. It was really hard to leave LSU because I loved it, I really did, but and it's hard when you enter the transfer portal too because you don't know where you're going to go at all. So you know that you're not going to LSU anymore, but you're not sure where the next step is, and you have about a month to make your decision and move everything. So, but when I entered the transfer portal, Keiser reached out to me.
A friend of mine knew I was looking for a goalkeeper. He let me know that was a very good goalkeeper on the portal. So we started to do our homework. We managed to track down Grace's contact information and old videos and references. And then we put the wheels in motion. She had other schools that were interested in her. We were able to get her down here on a visit.
So she visited Keiser, and Keiser was defending national champions, very winning program under Dunny, and she loved it here.
She came down here with her family, had the tour. We met with them for almost half a day, all over campus. They went around downtown and everything, saw the sights. We talked about what our future plans were. I spoke to them and said, look, we're going to win a national championship here in the summer. If you want to be a part of that, this is where you need to come. It's a bold statement. Her family and her kind of looked at me kind of shocked, but then when we went on and won the whole thing, I told you, there you go, that was one of the things I promised you, and there it is.
That was amazing, like almost too good to be true, just everything that I had like hoped to happen, happened. And it's really beautiful how it all came about. We just kept, clicking at all the right times, and everything came together at the right time. And I mean, honestly, winning the national championship in overtime over our biggest rivals, it can't get any better than that. I still get chills thinking about the moment. It was so amazing, and I smile all the time thinking about it. So. We were in the Sun Conference semifinal game, and it was in the 70th minute, and a free kick came in. I went up to go grab it, kind of bobbled the ball a little bit. There was no contact on the play, but when I went down to grab the ball again, kind of lunged forward with my left leg, something I've done many times, and I just felt the bones in my knee just shift.
She's going to play this one into the box. This is exactly the type of play they scored their first goal on, but this time McClellan comes out, swallows it up as the clock is stopped. 20:14 remaining in this one. McClellan currently down on the ground.
There wasn't any pain, but I was I've never felt that sensation before. Something's really weird. So I had the ball in my hands, and I just told the ref, I was get the trainer over here. Everyone's looking around this is weird. What are you doing? She's stand up, walk around, see how it feels. Well, when I got up, my knee just immediately gave out. I could feel it was completely unstable. And she was you know what this means? And I was don't say it.
Absolute denial. I was thinking, there is no way that tore her ACL. There's no way. And there's no way that it's going to be so uneventful like that, to have the most devastating injury that a soccer player ever dreams about. A torn ACL, that is many times not just season, but it's career ending, depending on how well the surgery is done and how you come back.
I walked off the field, I was okay, but I knew something was wrong. Something's wrong. The MRI came back that I had completely torn my ACL. But through that process, it was a couple, maybe like 5 to 7 days. And so like the further away from my injury I got, the swelling died down and I was able to like walk around in no pain, which obviously I was in no pain because there was nothing there holding on. But then I started thinking like, okay, I'm not in pain. So if I could get some stability, maybe if I could like play with a brace, maybe that would be okay. From that semifinal game to the first round of like the national tournament, the opening round, I think there was like 9-10 days that I was able to kind of like gather myself to figure out like what I was gonna do. It started out, I wanted to do like what was best for the team. So I was like, you know, coaches, I'm willing to play, like if that's what you want, if that's what you think is best for the team.
Oh, we had to make sure that she was, you know, first able to play in terms of being cleared. And the doctors came back and said, look, we can't make this any worse than what it already is. If she feels strong enough and is in the right mindset, then she can play. I talked with her. We talked it over a few pros and cons, and she said, no, I can play through this. I can't make it any worse. I want to finish out the job that I started.
I came here to win another national championship, and now I'm missing out on the best part of the season, but you know, I'm willing to put like myself at risk if I'm able to perform and if you think this is what's best for the team.
And I said, all right, and then I'm totally on board as long as you're in the right mindset and everybody has cleared it. Then, you know, for me, it was a no-brainer.
It was definitely the hardest thing that I have ever done. It shaped me into a different person and a different player from that experience. I had so much fear of like, if I was gonna like hurt myself again, or if I was like letting the team down. Like it was just really a really hard thing to do. But my parents, that's where they come in again.
Coming into the second game of the playoffs that she was going to be playing with the torn ACL, we actually have a book that we gave to all the soccer players, and it's called The Prayers of Grace, and we gave it to all the players. And in that book, I got up one morning in the hotel and I was flipping through it, and God led me to the page about David and Goliath. And so we came over here, we sent her, took a shot of it and sent it to Grace. And then when we came over here, we picked up a stone as we were going in the locker room, and we just gave her the stone and said, here's the stone that David used. So go slay the giant and let's win this thing.
There was so much weakness that he had. He was at the disadvantage, but like he really trusted God, that's what God called him to do, and he did it. And I felt like I was in that situation, that I had so much weakness and I had so much like incapabilities, but I really felt like that's what God was calling me to do. In the opening round, we had 2 games. The first game, I didn't get that much action, but after the game and the next day, I couldn't walk. It was horrible because my knee like kept buckling in that game, and like kept popping out of place. So just like the swelling afterwards was crazy. Went into the training room the next day, and Emily was like, you cannot keep doing this. And I was like, but we play tomorrow, not today. Like maybe tomorrow will be better. I remember I woke up the next day just like, I don't know if I can do this. I could not even walk, couldn't straighten my leg all the way. Like I could not physically do it. The coaches said, you know, that they would make the call at game time whether I was going to play or not in that second game of the opening round. And so then I got out to warm up, and all of a sudden, I'm fine.
It broke my heart to see her have to crawl onto the field. And as soon as she got on the field, she was able to play. That blew my mind.
That's just something that you really can't explain without like the faith that I have. I just felt like that's what, like I couldn't walk on my own, but like between the lines, like I could play. It was really crazy.
I've always respected and admired her morals and her ethics and her responsibility to what she believes her purpose is on the team. But for her to say, I'm going to play with this. She even did research to see if you can play with torn ACLs. And everything she found is, yeah, they played with a torn ACL. They played with a torn ACL. I can do it.
And then ended up shutting that team out. And then when I step off the field, I can't even walk. Ultimately, we didn't end up winning. So that is really upsetting, but I really learned a lot. I made those sacrifices and took those risks, like hoping to win at the end, like I thought. But really, I came away with learning that really the journey is the reward in all of it. Immediately, when I found out what was gonna happen, I knew I wanted to get surgery, and I got surgery at the end of the season, so December 14th. From the start, I was like, I wanna rehab as fast as possible and be back for the start of the fall, because normally they say it's 9 months to a year, but if it took me 9 months to a year, I wouldn't have been back for this season. I knew how important that was, to me and for the team, in order to hopefully, be the best for the team, that I needed to pretty much expedite this process. Went to one of the best surgeons in the Southeast, and then went to some of the best rehab in the nation. I was able to go to TB12, Tom Brady's rehab facility, and they really helped me with the whole rehab process from day one. I felt finally for the first time I felt heard when I went to them. I was like, I want to do this in 6 months, and everyone tells me I can't, especially because I'm a female. And they were like, you can definitely do it. If you put your mind to it, you can definitely do it. And that's the athlete in me too. I'm like, if I put my mind to something, I can do it. I worked day in and day out. I don't think I took a day off. And even if I physically was taking a day off, I was mentally working on myself, watching soccer, seeing how to improve my game. I was able to be cleared from my surgeon at 5 months. So I went to New Jersey and I started training at the Keeper Institute. Then I started feeling, I was like, I'm not feeling good. I don't feel powerful, I don't feel explosive. They say when you come back, you're supposed to be better than you were before. And I was like, I don't feel that way.
We are of the yoke that we don't ever take it's impossible as an option. We never take no. Grace has never she's heard no so many times in her life. I wish I had a $5 bill for every no she's heard, and yet she continues to succeed. So when we did hit places where we used TB12 for flexibility and to get her back moving, and then we needed to switch to another thing to get her more strength, that was just not an option for us. We found that person. We found those people.
My parents are always so supportive. They found this specialist in Rome, Georgia, and I got connected with him, and he put me on an intensive program. And at this time, I was really pushing a timeline. I had about 8 to 9 weeks before I had to be back here. And so I was eat, sleep, breathe this program. I've never had more dedication in my life. It encompassed weightlifting, nutrition, my soccer program, fitness, BFR. I was doing literally everything all the time to get back.
Grace rehabbed like she plays soccer. She fought really hard. She did things that not a lot of people would do.
She put in the work. Sometimes people just rush back to get back without putting in the right amount of work in the right areas. She strengthened all the muscles before surgery, which helped the recovery. And she went and dedicated pretty much her whole summer into getting stronger so that she could be back in time for her teammates.
She totally committed to her rehab like she committed to soccer. And then we saw her break barriers, surprise doctors, surprise therapists.
When I started with him, I think at 5 months, we found out that my strength index wasn't where I necessarily thought it was, so I had a bit of a setback there, and it was probably around the 70%. But then at the end of that, I was within 90%. Then I was able to come back for preseason.
Out of all the people I've had who have had ACL tears and knee problems, I've never known anybody come back as quick.
In this process of my injury, who I became was the reward, not necessarily what I accomplished at all or what the team accomplished.
Now that we're almost a year out from surgery, we understand there's a purpose and a plan for all of this, and now I believe she's stronger than ever.
One thing I've learned through my injury is to be fully present, and like that's when I'm having the most joy, is like when I'm present in the moment. And so I'm just really soaking in like every moment, because you know I had the sport taken away from me, and so I'm really having like so much joy now playing and everything, because I realize like how fast it can be taken away from you. The goal has always been to play professional soccer, and so that's hopefully the opportunity comes. And but I would love to pursue soccer as long as I physically can.